Looks like the Sox aren't getting a glimpse of their closer in 2024. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and one thing this team and fans have been kind of waiting on since the All-Star break was the return of Liam Hendriks. For anything, just to get a glimpse of what he may look like next season for the Boston Red Sox. Unfortunately, as of yesterday, it doesn't look like that is going to be a possibility. It's going to create a really interesting situation for the Red Sox this offseason. So what we are going to do in today's video is we're going to talk about what happened with Liam Hendriks and what this impact is going to have on the Boston Red Sox. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so for those of you who may not be super familiar with what we're talking about just yet, yesterday before the game, Alex Cora spoke with media where he said it's most likely going to happen that Liam Hendriks is shut down for the remainder of the 2024 season. Now, the big reason for this is because he hit a snag in his rehab assignment. If you remember our last injury video, we talked about Liam Hendriks not being able to make back-to-back appearances because of something that was going on. Now, we didn't entirely know what was going on, but we do now. The reason they are shutting him down, or most likely shutting him down, is due to having discomfort on the outside of his forearm, which isn't exactly a fantastic sign. However, it was not his elbow where he did get that surgery. They did get him an MRI just to be sure that there was no structural damage, and that came back clean, which is a really good sign. And the team said that they believe that this is mostly due to just simply wear and tear from trying to get back after not pitching for a long period of time. So it doesn't sound like this injury is a super deadly injury for Liam Hendriks. It mostly just sounds like this is a matter of timing, because at this point in the season, you've got 15 games left. He was shut down for a little bit, which means he's going to have to make up some ground in a rehab assignment, probably 4 or 5 more games before he could have rejoined the Boston Red Sox. By that point, you're 10 games out from the end of the year. To the Red Sox, it just doesn't feel like that is worth having him rush himself back and possibly risking another injury. The good news here is that it doesn't really sound like it's an injury where they are unbelievably concerned that he's going to re-injure himself and not be ready for 2025. It just simply has to do with timing. And I guess that is the good news of this injury thing. And that is that Liam Hendriks was signed to be the 2025 closer, right? He wasn't really signed to impact 2024 all that much. Whatever you were getting from Liam Hendriks in 24 was a bonus. You're still going to get 2025. It just sounds like you're not going to get that bonus in 2024. Obviously, it would have been really nice to have Liam Hendriks in the back end of this bullpen, especially since the bullpen has been really kind of terrible since the All-Star break. I believe it's the second worst bullpen in Major League Baseball. At bare minimum, it's bottom 5. Prime example was last night, right, where you get into extra innings and you've got Josh Winkowski up against Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, two of the best hitters in the entire sport right now. It would have been real nice to have Liam Hendriks in that situation, although I will say at the same time, too, if the Red Sox had just had a singular hit with a runner in scoring position, you don't really have any need to throw a Josh Winkowski in the 10th inning, but that is an entirely different conversation that I'm sure we will get to at some point. So overall, taking a look at the injury itself, it doesn't seem to be all that serious. It seems to be something where the Red Sox can afford, or really, I guess they can't afford with the state of their bullpen, but they really can afford with the state of their standings to shut him down for the rest of the year and just make sure that he's ready to go for 2025. It doesn't sound like this is going to be something that is going to be a long-term hindrance on Liam Hendriks' performance, and to me, that's the best news of this entire video. However, there is a part of this, and a bigger part of this about 2025 that I do get a little worried about. So before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's get into some possible issues. My biggest concern with this shutdown is what Liam Hendriks is going to look like in 2025. I don't really care all that much that he's not going to be here in 2024. I think that was always going to be, again, like we said, a bit of bonus baseball for the Boston Red Sox. But what it also would have done having him come back in 2024, even with Liam Hendriks saying, look, I could get back here in 24, but my stuff isn't going to be 100% until 2025, is give the Red Sox a little bit of certainty, right? Right now, now having him come back and pitch in 2024, even at 95% or whatever percentage he was at, would have allowed the Red Sox to, at the bare minimum, project out what he could possibly look like in 2025. Now, they obviously can still do that, but it gets a little bit more tricky because you don't have any in-game situations to really build off of. Sure, you have some of his rehab assignments, but as we know, based on many prospects who have come up over the years, there's a real big difference between pitching against minor leaguers and pitching against major league players. And for me, that gets a little bit scary. The uncertainty attached to Liam Hendriks now is a little bit more scary than it was before. And this is a big thing because the Red Sox bullpen is going to have to be a top priority for the Red Sox this offseason. Again, we've talked about it in this video. We've talked about it a million times in other videos. The Red Sox bullpen has been a problem since basically the All-Star break. Now, there have been a lot of things wrong with the Red Sox since the All-Star break, but the bullpen in particular has been god-awful. The Red Sox need to go into 2025 with more certainty in their bullpen, and on top of that, they're losing some really big pieces. Kenley Jansen's a free agent. Chris Martin's a free agent. Those guys most likely aren't going to come back to the Boston Red Sox. If the Red Sox want to end up competing in 2025, which they should want to compete based on everything that they've seen from this team this season and based on everything we've seen from the minor leaguers who are very close to making their major league debut in 2025, you're in a prime position to make a legitimate run at this thing for a few more years to come. And in order to do that, again, I go back to that word that we are going to use a lot in this video. You're going to need more certainty. Liam Hendriks was always sort of an uncertainty for 2025, but allowing him to get some innings in 2024 would have eased that uncertainty just a little bit. Now, that doesn't mean Liam Hendriks isn't talented enough to be a major piece for this Red Sox bullpen. In fact, his last full season was a 2.81 ERA with a lower 268 FIP and a 1.040 WHIP for a 142 ERA plus, 42% better than the average pitcher in Major League Baseball back in 2022, and he was an all-star closer. But now you're talking about essentially 2 seasons where he has not been able to pitch. Last year, I guess you could say he pitched a little bit. It was 5 innings. I don't really count that. Even with those, you're talking about 5 innings in 2 seasons. All of a sudden, Liam Hendriks goes from, okay, if you get, a month or 2 months production from him in 24 and he's able to build himself back up for 25, that's great, to I don't know what we're going to get from Liam Hendriks in 25. The hope, obviously, is that stuff does bounce back to 100%, but the question becomes, how long is that going to take? Obviously, if he's fully healthy over the offseason, he comes to spring training ready to go, you can work out some of the kinks there, but there's still a really big difference between spring training and regular season games. Ultimately, what this injury does and what this injury is going to impact on this team is it's going to, in my opinion, create a bigger priority to ensure that your bullpen's in a better spot for 2025. Again, this is not a knock on Liam Hendriks. He's talented, he has the ability to do that, and he has the mindset to be a real good closer in Major League Baseball again, but this now means that you got to get guys who are going to perform in this bullpen. For a while now, it's been sort of the Red Sox signing or trading for bullpen pieces that are, for the most part, obviously Kenley was more of a sure thing, but even Chris Martin was in this boat where it was picking up guys who maybe didn't have the best statistics on another team or maybe had really mediocre seasons, realizing that they did something really well and trying to bring that out of them. Now, obviously, you still need to do that as that's what good teams do. They get the most out of the back end of their roster, but you're also going to need to balance that out a bit with more certain players. Guys like AJ Minter on the Braves, who we talked about in a prediction video just the other week, is a prime example of that. He's a guy that is going to cost a little bit more than your average reliever, but what you're going to get from him is a known floor and a known ceiling. And those are things that the Red Sox simply aren't going to get right now with Liam Hendriks. They're going to have to make up that ground in another spot. And that, to me, is what scares me the most about Liam Hendriks being shut down. Again, is it really going to make that much of a difference 1 week of Liam Hendriks versus no weeks of Liam Hendriks? Not to the 2024 Red Sox, but it isn't going to allow the Red Sox to see potentially what they're working with in 2025. 2025, and that uncertainty is going to absolutely kill me. This is the offseason where you need to hammer home some of those uncertainties. You need to make those uncertainties more certain and really sort of get yourself into a position to compete in 2025 because you have the talent to do that, and I think Liam Hendriks could be a big part of that. So overall, taking a look at this, again, it's not an injury to sit there and say to yourself, man, the Red Sox are screwed, right? This is really bad news. It's really not going to improve the Red Sox playoff chances. It's not going to make it a whole lot worse. They just are what they are at this point. But I do think it's going to have some impact on how they approach the offseason, and I do think it makes Liam Hendriks a much more interesting story coming into spring training. But that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about this? What do you think about Liam Hendriks most likely being shut down for the 2024 season? What do you think it does for the impact on the Boston Red Sox? And what do you think this means for 2025? Let me know all your thoughts on the Liam Hendriks injury in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Simply helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen to these episodes instead of watch them, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for taking a second and clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.